This is Comic Geek Speak, episode 867, a conversation with Jeff Lemire. Welcome to Comic Geek Speak. I'm Brian Deemer.
I'm Shane Kelly.
I'm Brian Chrisman.
I'm Peter Rios.
Hey.
And thanks for joining us. And also with us here today is Jeff Lemire. Welcome, Jeff.
Hello.
Hello.
How's it going?
It's great. It's a pleasure to have you back.
Yeah, it's fun to be back, guys. Thanks.
So this episode today is brought to you by Fan Expo. Oh, it's soon time for us to return to Canada. August 27th, 28th, and 29th at the Metro Toronto Convention Center. This is going to be a good show. Last year was fantastic. There's 1 million people coming, and one of those people is Jeff Lemire, which is great. It'll be good to see you again in person.
Yeah, that's my hometown show, so I never miss that one.
And, of course, this year they have Stan Lee.
Who's that?
Some guy, I don't know. Gary Frank, John Romita Jr., Andy and Adam Kubert, J. Michael Straczynski, Olivier Coipel, Steve McNiven, Ethan Van Sciver, Doug Monkey, Will Sportacio, Dan DiDio, Paolo Rivera, my gosh, Brian Azzarello, Koi Pham, Darwin Cook, Bob Layton, Tim Bradstreet, Alex Malev, Dale Keown. The list goes on and on. Jill Thompson, Jim Valentino, Francis Manipul.
It's also his local show, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chris Sprouse, Cameron Stewart, and Glenn Danzig. So there you go.
That's the best for last, man. There you go. That's awesome.
You never know what you're going to get up there. And Adam West, Burt Ward, and Julie Newmar are all going to be there. Oh. And lots of other people. I mean, you can go to the website at fanexpocanada.com to see the huge list. Uncle Sal will be there, which is great. So just there's a lot of people coming. And last year was really a lot of fun.
It was.
Yeah. I think the population of Canada doubles that weekend.
We had a very nice location, and we met a lot of listeners, whole lot of listeners stopped by.
That was a lot of fun.
They were as eager to see us as we were to see them. It was
right.
fantastic.
So come on out to Fan Expo this year. If it's anything like last year, it'll be a great time. And it's fanexpocanada.com.
Yeah.
I think they're changing it to Stan Expo.
Their Friday hours are, I guess, 4 to 9, but I believe if you buy the advance tickets, you get in at 2 o'clock. So it's one of those weird times. It's 2 o'clock to 9 on Friday.
It's a late night.
And then Saturday is 10 to 7. Wow. But Sunday is 11 to 6. But
Jesus Christ.
yeah.
What did I sign up for?
Ooh, now you realize the hours of the show. But
Well, those are the hours of the show. That's not the hours I will be there.
Well, you know, that late night Friday thing, while it's kind of not a lot of fun if you're an exhibitor, it does make sense because people get off of work. And when the show's only open till 7 on a Friday, people get off of work and they're like, I'm not going to go to the show for an hour and a half. But if it's open till 9, they can actually show up. So you actually get some business in there on a Friday night. So
Yeah, that's true.
it makes sense. It's just that by the time you get out of there and you get dinner at 10 o'clock at night, you're starving. So that's
Yeah, and I go to bed at 8:30, so
So come by
joking.
come by at 9 and Jeff will be sleeping at his table.
yeah. Wow.
Do you really go to bed at 8:30?
Honest to God, lately I've been going to bed at 9:30.
Do you recently have a child, Jeff? Is
Yeah,
that-
well, he gets up at 5:15, so it's I either go to bed at 9 and can actually function the next day and make comics, or I go to bed at 11 and don't make any comics the next day.
that makes sense. All the pieces are coming together now.
Oy.
How's daddy treating you?
It's good. It's first year is really hard, and but it's getting easier. He's sleeping better, and just all around a lot easier to take care of and stuff. So it's great. It's very hard.
It gets better.
Yeah, especially because you got a lot of new projects down the road. Now, the convention, the Fan Expo convention, since you said it was in your hometown, are you treated as like one of the local heroes?
No, not really. Lately, it's beginning a little better. I think the the DCU stuff seems to have elevated my profile in their eyes or something. I think I actually get guest status now. Yeah, but I think any show tends to take the hometown guys a little bit for granted. They're just going to be there, so they're always much more excited about, for instance, Glenn Danzig or any other out of town superstar like that. So. But it's good. It's a good show.
What? Someone explain Glenn Danzig to me again. I know we've talked about it on the show before, but I can't remember what the big deal is with it.
I love Danzig. I grew up listening to Danzig. Well, I loved the Misfits, and I loved Sam Hain, and then in my misguided youth, I was a really big heavy metal fan, so I was really into Danzig.
That's funny. Seeing you would never have suspected that you were a big metal fan.
Yeah, I was a nerd. I think all nerds, well, that's maybe not true, but a lot of nerds go through a good heavy metal phase.
I went through the punk phase, so it was similar but a little different.
I went through Iron
Similar
Man.
but cooler.
Similar. I wouldn't have qualified my youthful days as cool in any sense of the word. So.
I went through an El DeBarge phase.
Wow, that's awesome. Okay, see you guys later.
Oh, boy.
Oh, now we're going to judge.
Yeah. Sorry.
Well, yeah, this should be a fun convention. Do you like doing conventions? For those people who don't know, Jeff Lemire, come on, we talk about him all the time. Tales from the Farm, the Essex County trilogy. We did an episode on that, and the Nobody at Vertigo, Sweet Tooth of Vertigo, and now he's going to be writing the Atom coming up. Do you enjoy doing the convention thing? Do you find it hard? Do you like meeting your fans?
No, it's great. I really love conventions. It's one of the only times where making comics as a profession kind of becomes a sociable thing where you actually meet other cartoonists and and you meet your readers and can actually interact with them and stuff because, it's no surprise that cartooning is mostly a pretty isolated sort of job. So, I love meeting fans and I love meeting, other cartoonists that I admire and there's a large group of guys who I see at every show and who have become sort of my friends really at this point because I don't get out much anymore. So people like Matt Kent and Jeffrey Brown and all those top shelf guys, and so I love and it's always fun to travel too. So yeah.
Which one of those guys don't you like?
Oh, Matt Kent and Jeffrey Brown. I don't like them. I just see them all the time.
That's cool. That should be fun. Should be fun. The convention. The CGS is making their second trip up, and as the guys in the room said, they went last year and they had a good time. So we're looking forward to going back.
Yeah, I love when the podcast guys all show up to shows. It makes it a little more exciting and a little fun for everyone, I think. I'm glad you guys are coming out.
I'm surprised some artists haven't gotten sick of the podcast crew yet. Maybe they have, and they're just not telling us.
You guys are great. We need you. You're part of you're part of it all now. So it's good. I think the good podcast people respect and stuff. So it's cool.
So Peter, whether they're sick of us or not, it doesn't matter because they need us.
Yeah, we need you.
It's like those annoying reporters.
Yeah. Is that the phone? Is everything okay?
I'm good. I'm here.
Oh, okay. I just posted on the forum today. This kind of goes into the convention. You know what? We got to start here because we recorded some episodes before we heard the news, but Al Williamson passed away.
Yeah, we mentioned it on the previous episode. Yeah, that's.
Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a real bummer. It's another legend now gone. So.
Yeah, that was kind of weird. Just because I was reading something about him not too long ago, or somebody was talking about him, and actually on Twitter, Steve Bryant, who was a huge fan of Al Williams, and he was the first one that I sort of saw that he was posting about it. So, to wrap it back up into the whole convention thing, if you haven't gone to a convention, if you haven't met your heroes, do so as early as you can, because you never know.
Yeah, I might be dead next year.
Oh, God.
What? It's true. You never know. I met, on that note, I met Carmine Infantino a couple of years ago at a show, who is not dead, but he's an older gentleman and a hero of mine, and I got like an amazing flash sketch from him and stuff. And so, yeah, when you go to shows, definitely take time to see everyone, and, because a lot of these guys are, who we grew up reading and stuff, are getting older, and it's a real honor to get a chance to meet them and stuff.
Yeah. So, what I was going to bring up, and I know Brian in the room posted on this thread too. There was a thing that came out that C.B. Cebulski, he's the talent scout for Marvel, he put down on Twitter, and I thought, hey, Jeff's an artist, and I know he doesn't necessarily do sketchbooks. At least I don't think you do, but he talked about if artists are doing sketchbooks this summer during the convention beat, that they should be a little careful about licensed properties, and didn't really go into much more detail than that.
I kind of heard some rumblings. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to turn it to you. I was going to say, I know you only know what you know, but what would your thoughts be on something like that?
No, I don't know much about that. I just remember reading something similar that Marvel, especially, I think, was going to be cracking down on that. So, but I've never done one of those sketchbooks. I just haven't had time to put one together. But if I did, mine would mostly be DC anyway. But no, I don't know. I don't really have anything to say about that. I mean, they own those characters, so it's their right to do that. And, but yeah, I know. Whatever.
Yeah. What was it, Brian? You posted on there, right?
Yeah. I think it's generally I'm going to give credit to the comic companies on this one, because theoretically they wouldn't have to allow anyone to do any sketches of any licensed characters at any conventions, because it is their property, and you're making, an artist is making money off of it, and Marvel's or DC or whomever is not getting any cut. So they've been giving a gift to all artists for a long time on that one.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
But then there's that gray area where it's like, okay, well, so I drew these 15 sketches last year, and now I put them in a little book. And usually most artist sketchbooks are like Kinko's photocopies or whatever that are stapled together, and then they charge $10 because they need a little extra cash. And so, and then they only made like 50 of them. And now if Marvel's saying, well, we don't like that because now you're mass producing it, it's certainly within their rights to do that. I just wonder about, like, what if somebody, like some artists then actually, go to a Kablam or some other printing company and actually print, 200 copies, and they pay money for it. And now if Marvel says, no, you can't sell that, they're kind of left holding the bag. Are they going to give them a pass this season and say, look, you can sell these, but don't make any more of them? I mean, how's that going to work? And what about people like Frank Cho or other guys who make hardcovers? Did they ask Marvel for permission, or did they not? I don't know
what, though? At the end of the day, these people are artists, and if they can't fill a sketchbook to sell with their own ideas that people want to buy, then, whose fault is that? It's not Marvel's fault. So they own those characters, and, that's their right.
Yeah. And then
I'm with the man. I'm with the man on this one.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying that they shouldn't do it. I'm just saying it's kind of like suddenly artists have to refigure out how they're going to make money on the convention circuit if a big percentage of their money was prints and sketchbooks. I mean, let's be honest. If I walk by an artist table and they have a really cool Spider-Man print, I'm probably like, ooh, I want that. But if they're like drawing some character I never heard of that's their own creation that isn't in a comic yet, do I want to pay $10 for that print? I mean, it would have to be the most awesome art ever if I didn't recognize the characters,
And especially if it's something they're well known for,
right?
They can't do it well.
Yeah, exactly. So that's, I mean, it'll just take them a year or two to reorganize and figure out how they're going to make money. Like Jeff said, I mean, if they they could do a sketchbook of cool designs and
Sure.
stuff, and people still want it. So, luckily, or they could do their own, create their own projects like Sweet Tooth and just draw all the
That's
Sweet
right.
Tooth they want.
Sure, man.
Are we making you uncomfortable, Jeff, with this business talk?
No, I'm fine.
The one thought I had about it, obviously as a non-creator, someone who has never gone through this thing before, but I kind of thought, okay, if say that is the case, and I also, I can see both sides of it. I'm not arguing for one or the other, but then I think I would turn around, and maybe this would hurt me in the long run, but if someone came up to me with like a long box of 25 issues of Sweet Tooth #1, I probably would look at them and go, okay, you know what? I can no longer draw all my DC characters, so I'm no longer going to sign 25 copies of the book that you're going to make money off of that I'm not going to make money off of. Like the
I don't know. Yeah, I don't. I don't know. It's I got nothing to say. Never mind. I'm going to stay out of this. I don't want to get in trouble.
Well, I think the interesting thing about it is we obviously don't know the whole story because CB, in his tweet, he said, talk to me. So that makes it sound as if Marvel's willing to play ball, that maybe they're just trying to set up some rules or some like, oh, you can draw Spider-Man, just don't draw him with his pants off or whatever. There's some kind of guidelines that Marvel's like, yeah, all right. Or don't make a limited edition hardcover sketchbook for $87 that Marvel's going to get zero of.
I think there's like anything, there's degrees of what they're going to be worried about. You know what I mean? It's like you said, if someone like whoever puts out a big hardcover of a whole bunch of Spider-Man drawings and stuff, and they're charging $100 and selling like hundreds of them, that is kind of crossing the line. But if it's just some guy in Artist Alley with a little Xerox thing with a couple of Spider-Man, drawings amongst a bunch of other stuff, I don't really think Marvel's going to go after you. I may be wrong, but I highly doubt it.
Yeah. The only person that Jeff has any worry about coming after him is probably the Kirby estate, because every time I go by him, he has a lot of Kirby stuff.
Yeah, it's hard not to draw those characters, but I find ways to make enough money at conventions, and I don't think I've ever had a sketchbook or ever stuff like that. You can do it. You just gotta kind of switch it up,
Yeah. Your love of all that, I don't know. You said the DC stuff, and every time I come by, there's a lot of DC stuff, and I think that is something that is really cool. And another sort of topic that I had in my notes that came up on the forum, on our forum a while back, was when they made the announcement that you were now going to be the writer on Atom. First of all, I think the entire comics community that knows your work, did a big Homer Simpson, or whatever, like they just a tilt of the head or something. But those of us who have heard you do interviews and read interviews know that you love the superhero stuff.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I think it is. I think it's the guys who maybe haven't heard me speak or met me before, probably just from seeing Essex County or even Sweet Tooth, were probably a little taken aback. But anyone who knows me a little bit better would not be surprised that I would be super excited to get my hands on a DC character. So.
And that played out in the Essex County books. I mean, that was one of the things I loved about the first book.
My love of superhero comics, I think Tales from the Farm is my little love letter to my love of growing up reading superhero comics, if nothing else. And so, it's always been in my work and stuff. So.
When we read that first, I know the guys in the room probably felt the same way, but I remember seeing the comics in the background in that art and seeing him walk around with a cape, and that was a big thing. And that's how I felt when I was a kid.
I mean, the Atom definitely is a lot of fun, but I think even more so, the Superboy stuff is really sort of ties everything together, I think, that I've ever done. So it's going to be, in a lot of ways, it feels like writing that book feels a lot like almost a natural extension of what I was doing with Tales from the Farm or something.
That's awesome. Now, with that, and this is the subject that, again, you probably thought this was going to be a light interview, but on the forum, when it came up that you were writing Atom, or maybe this might have been another topic. This might have been another, the thing about, like, indie creators, quote-unquote indie creators, for lack of a better term, going to more mainstream stuff. And some people, like, kind of, like, just openly and blatantly just going, I'm not going to read, to take for example, I'm not going to read Jeff Lemire's Superboy, and because it's Marvel or DC. And it's like, what? Like, why?
I mean, go ahead, sorry.
Oh, no, I just, maybe because, I don't know. I mean, it feels to me like I think that's when you probably should almost support you as a writer and a creator even more, because there might be on some level, we don't know this, but there might be on some level, Marvel and DC, when they took a chance on like Bendis and David Mack and Dave Peterson and Jonathan Hickman and you, and maybe in the back of their mind they're going, well, this might work, this might not work, And,
I think there's a lot of that going on. Of course, I'm, to the guys at DC at this point, I'm still definitely an unproven commodity. So they're definitely taking a chance and kind of seeing what I do with it and stuff. So, but at the same time, I completely understand that reaction. That I have favorite artists and favorite writers and favorite filmmakers and stuff who do these great independent films and stuff, and I just adore them. And then all of a sudden you'll see that they're making, some really mainstream Hollywood movie or whatever, and my initial reaction is, well, what a sellout, or, like, I totally get that thing. No, I mean, I get it. That's part of being a fan of anything. You follow someone, you kind of invest yourself in a creator or a writer or whoever, and, but, I don't know. I just think that maybe the audiences won't really cross over, Sweet Tooth and Superboy audiences, and that's cool. It's totally different. It's a totally different kind of comic. It's not like I'm going to be writing Superboy like I write Sweet Tooth. You know what I mean? They're just different. They're completely different animals, and they're both really great and really rewarding in different ways. But I can understand the reaction, I guess, is my point. Yeah. But, give it a chance before you just write it off. That's the other thing, too. A lot of guys talk a lot of shit online and don't actually ever read what they're talking shit about. So, and in this case, it hasn't even come out yet. So it's, passing judgment on something they know nothing about. So.
What about you guys in the room? What do you think about that?
Well, I certainly, I don't know. I think when I see Jeff's example of a movie, if you really love some indie creator and you see they're about to do a mainstream movie, I kind of get more excited because I hope that they're going to bring a little indie into the mainstream, and give us something a little different. And that's
give it a little. You get stuff gets so stale in the mainstream after a while; it starts to get repetitive, and then you need new blood to kind of bring something a little different and add a little energy to things sometimes. And hopefully that's what I can do. But
plus, I also.
I'm sorry, I keep interrupting you guys. I'm talkative tonight.
I also see it as an opportunity to fund future independent products. If you can take the big mainstream payday, then you have the money maybe to continue to do the stuff that you maybe love even more, and that's some of the indie stuff. So, like, I see it as a gift to you for the opportunity to keep doing indie books.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing too. It's if I quit doing Sweet Tooth suddenly because I got offered Superboy and never did another book with, Top Shelf because I was doing Superboy and the Atom instead, that's one thing. But the fact of the matter is I'm doing those two gigs, but Sweet Tooth's still going to be coming out every month, and, I'm still working on a new graphic novel for Top Shelf, so it's a different situation. And the other thing is, too, is DC's been really supportive of Sweet Tooth and done a lot to promote that book, and so this is partially, it's my way of giving back to that company and for their support, and it's all, everything ties together, and it's like I said, it's easy to write something off before it comes out or whatever, but I just hope people give it a chance.
I agree with what Brian said, to the fact that I also commend the bigger companies when they do that and allow the independent creator to continue with their independent projects in tandem.
Yeah, exactly. And DC's been super supportive, like Jeff Johns and those guys. When they called me about these gigs, it's all because they love Sweet Tooth and they want to support that book. And this is just another way of me kind of, telling more stories and getting my voice out there and stuff.
Yeah.
To me, it's really exciting. I like I said, if it was a matter of one or the other, that might be kind of weird, but it's not. My first love's always going to be my stuff that I'm writing and drawing, But superhero stuff is a lot of fun, and it's a lot of fun to try to find a voice within that as well and tell really good superhero books, because I love reading really good superhero comics. So.
I'm looking forward to it a great deal, and knowing your superhero fandom, I'm actually kind of jonesing for you to actually maybe draw a little bit. I know you're busy with Sweet Tooth, but it's like, I love his writing, but just to see him draw like either the Atom or Superboy, it's like, argh! But yeah, you can't have everything, So
I think they're taking enough of a risk at this point on me as a writer, just because I'm kind of unproven in that mainstream sort of world. So I think I need to earn their trust a bit before they're willing to take that next the next leap. But there's no secret that I would love to write and draw, some DCU project someday. But my style obviously is a bit left of center, and it takes a little longer, I think, to earn the trust of editorial and stuff in that respect. So it's all a work in progress. One day.
We just
steps.
talked to what's that?
I said baby steps.
Baby steps. Yeah,
exactly.
We talked to Terry Moore, and he said in our episode this week, and he said basically the same thing you said about certain creators could bring something different to the mainstream, and that. And for people who, now that when you mentioned the Superboy, because I actually forgot the Superboy gig.
Yeah, not to belittle the Atom stuff, but for me, the Superboy is really the one that I'm getting a chance to really sink my teeth into and make my own. And the Atom stuff is going to be a lot of fun, but I really feel like Superboy is, like I said, it's a monthly book, and it's I'm writing it from the start, and I just feel like it's a lot of the themes and aesthetics of that book are really in tune with what I've done in the past, and that's the one I'm really, really, really excited to move forward with in the future for sure.
That's great. Yeah, until you said it, and then you said it, and I went, "Oh my God! Of course, small boy in a farm country.
Yeah, I know.
You could connect it to Sweet Tooth in some ways.
Oh, sure, all my stuff. Yeah.
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 I don't want to give anything away, but yeah. No, I don't want to spoil things for Sweet Tooth for people who haven't read it, but there's obvious connections between the character, the origins of Sweet Tooth and Superboy, and now my big wish, and here I'll give you this for free, Sweet Tooth and Swamp Thing crossover. Come on, that'd be awesome.
Give me any day, man. I swear, Swamp Thing is by far my favorite. The Alan Moore Swamp Thing and the Wrights and Len Wein Swamp Thing those are probably my favorite comics ever. So I would die to do anything with that character, but I got a full plate right now.
Jeff's a little busy.
Yeah.
Do you find that being a dad now, do you go back to some of your older work and go, boy, this kind of puts a whole new spin on things?
No, you can't. I don't think I've ever done anything that well, it's actually really interesting because I'm working on this book for Top Shelf. It's a big graphic novel. It's kind of like my follow-up to the Essex County stuff for them, and it's called The Underwater Welder, and it's sort of the whole book. I started it, when my wife was pregnant and before we had the kid and stuff, and so the whole theme of the book was sort of the pressures and anxieties and of impending parenthood, fatherhood, and that was sort of the main theme of that book. And then, over the course of working on that book, obviously we had a child, and now I have been a parent for almost 2 years, and so my whole outlook on everything has changed so much that the whole sort of underlying theme and thesis of that book has changed so much as I work on it. So it went from a book about the anxieties of fatherhood to now it's become a book about embracing fatherhood and stuff. So it's really interesting how your personal life can kind of influence whatever projects you're working on, definitely. And I'm sure it's changing Sweet Tooth as well, because I started that book right around the same time when we were still expecting our Gus, and then now he's been here and stuff, and I know him, and I'm sure that's changing the character of Sweet Tooth and his direction as I go as well.
There was I guess you posted it on Twitter about the underwater welder, and one of our listeners, he wrote on the forum, he said, not only is this news in and of itself amazing, but my friends and I have a joke about underwater welding.
Oh, really?
For those of you who just, he says, underwater welding is real. It's an incredibly lucrative but also incredibly dangerous profession. The joke for us is that underwater welding is the backup plan. If we fail at all of our other jobs and everything, we can at least afford to go get some training.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, it's such a cool, just visually, it's such an amazing thing to draw. These guys, they just go down in these incredible depths by themselves, and it's really been a lot of fun to draw that book. It's, half the book takes place underwater, obviously, and I've been really experimenting visually with a lot of different styles, and it's been a really cool project so far, so I'm super excited about it.
You're going to send some of your characters down to the Gulf?
Yeah, and that's the other thing that happened, while I'm working on it, and that this, in a weird way, actually does, alter your opinion of everything, and you wonder if you should comment on that in some subtle way, but who knows?
Yeah. So, guys in the room, you guys are reading his stuff. What do you? Any thoughts?
Well, I just finished.
Working on?
I just finished the first trade of Sweet Tooth last week, and I really loved it. I had read the first issue when it came out because we discussed it together, but then I waited on the trade for everything else, and it was awesome. It totally went in a way that I was not expecting. I read that first issue and I thought it was all cool, but I didn't know really what the series was about.
Sure. Yeah.
And then you get that second issue and you're like, oh, okay, this is not what I thought. Okay, awesome. And then I was totally in for the ride. So I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I think I don't know. I think it's a funny series, and the first issue is, I think, kind of intriguing, but it really doesn't. You like you said, you don't really get a sense of where the story's going yet, which is kind of what's cool about it, because it's kind of a mysterious first issue. But I think, if anything, having it in trade now is really going to help people sort of maybe appreciate a bit more what I was trying to do. And I think the second arc that's just finishing up now, really, when you read that, it really almost makes the first trade a bit better. It just sort of adds a lot of subtext to it and stuff. So I don't know. I'm really excited about it. Anyway, I'm really thrilled with the way it's been received and the sales and everything. And yeah, it's been a really fun project. Definitely. I'm still super excited about it every day when I wake up. So that's always a good sign.
Cool. Yeah, I'm getting the single issues, and I've read through issue 9. Issue 10 actually is in my next shipment from DCBS. But I like the second arc because it does something that I really enjoy in comics and actually TV, is the going back and forth in different moments in time with a character.
Yeah.
I just love that, and you're learning the backstory, a little bit about Tommy. And I'm just looking at the issue 10 solicit on Vertigo, and it says, in the most bizarre issue yet. It's like, okay, wait, I can't wait to get that comes in my shipment and get my hands on
10's
that.
really surreal. It's 10's one of probably my favorite issue I've done so far, just in terms of the artwork and just sort of the story too. It's kind of an interlude where we take a little break from Shepard's story and go back to Gus, and it's kind of a surreal. Again, like you said, it's a jumping back and forth in time, which, people who have read Essex County and the ghost story stuff know that I love to do that anyway. But I love that issue 10. I think is super strong, and 11's going to be really intense. And I think the series is getting better now as I'm working on issue 13, 14 and stuff. And I don't know. I feel like it's kind of in a safe spot where I don't think we're going to get canceled. So hopefully I can tell my whole big story that I had planned and stuff.
Yeah, I forget. Did we ask you? Do you have a finite end in mind for Sweet Tooth?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I tend to, when I come up with an idea, I always, for whatever reason, tend to get the beginning and the ending right away, and then it's just a matter of sort of filling out the middle part. And so I've always known the ending to Sweet Tooth. I know the last image and everything. I've even kind of written the script pretty much for that last issue, whenever it is, and it's just sort of a matter of you leave room in the middle to kind of allow the journey to go where it wants to. But I don't know. I'd say at this point, it kind of feels like the book's going to be 35 or 40 issues long, I would think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, if I was Vertigo, I would keep this book, keep it going. I mean, they it's not like they need, they need attention or anything like that, but there were a lot of great series that had ended, in the past year or so. So they need, this. It's kind of nice to see a longer running book or a book that has some acclaim to it. Find its way.
Yeah, it's Vertigo. It's like I've always loved Vertigo, and I think it's you can look through. I mean, how long has Vertigo been around for? About 15, 20 years? I don't even know, but you can kind of see eras of Vertigo. You know what I mean? Like where it kind of ebbs and flows, and you have like a really strong lineup, and then there's kind of like a transitional period, and then you get another really strong lineup. And I feel like maybe the last couple of years was sort of one of those transitional things, and now Vertigo's lineup at the moment I feel is quite strong with some of the new stuff like Unwritten and American Vampire and Sweet Tooth, and then you have Scalped and the Fables books and stuff. I feel like they've kind of entered that next sort of whatever this era is. So it's great to be part of such a great lineup of comics for sure.
Yeah, we're looking at 2013 as Vertigo's 20-year anniversary.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah,
I remember when I was reading all those books when they switched over and stuff. Those are some of my fondest memories of reading comics back in those days with Swamp Thing and Hellblazer and Doom Patrol, and those were some great comics for sure.
There was that weird period, like I want to say mid to late 90s, I think. Even though they had Preacher and they had Transmet, they had a lot of others. There were some very experimental years where they were pumping out a lot of miniseries.
It goes through these weird. It always goes through these weird little like transitional 2-3 year periods where they try a lot of different things, right? Trying to find that next kind of stable of books, and sometimes you get some really interesting stuff in there that kind of a lot of it doesn't get traded or it gets lost in the shuffle, but it's all worth checking out for the most part. Sweet Tooth could have easily been one of those projects, so I'm happy that it kind of seems to have found some legs.
What else has anybody been reading of Jeff's work?
I think
my work or any work, I could talk about some good stuff. Have you guys read Sparta USA yet by David Lapham?
No, I haven't.
It's such a cool book, man. It's a Wildstorm book, and I get the comp box from DC, so I just kind of discovered it in there, and it's a really cool read. I've been enjoying that one a lot.
What's the premise of that? Because I've seen stuff on their website about it.
It's really hard to explain. It's like I'm still kind of figuring out what the hell the book is about because it's so wild. But it's both football, small towns. And I think it's kind of post-apocalyptic, and it's wild. It's really good. That's good.
I just read a top shelf offering, The Playwright.
Yeah, the Eddie Campbell book, right?
Wow, that was really good.
I haven't got my hands on that one yet, but I really look forward to it.
It was cool too because the format it's a nice little hardcover, $15, but it's like long and skinny like a strip.
Oh, really?
So it's a regular comic, but it's done kind of like strip format where
that's amazing.
Like there's like 3 or 4 panels across a page.
That's cool.
It was really good. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, Eddie Campbell's one of my heroes, so I can't wait to get my hands on that one for sure. And if I don't know if you guys read a lot of the Alex stuff that Eddie did, like back in the day.
No,
I read his Bacchus. I read that.
Yeah, Pockets is okay, but I mean, for me, that Alex stuff, especially the early ones, those are some of the. They just have so much energy, and they're such amazing comics, and those are top 5 comics of all time for me. But I love that stuff.
He's got a certain aesthetic that is kind of that your art kind of plays in a little bit.
Yeah, it's kind of messy and awkward. Yeah.
I love how you describe it as messy. I see it as like if we all kind of lived in like a shadow world. Like if you peeled our boundaries and our flesh away, like we would be. Some of us would have huge shadows, and some of us would have like no shadows, and some of us would be like these people that blend into others. That's it's part of it reminds me of like.
Hold on, I got to write that down for Vertigo pitch.
But you know what I mean? Like, because I recently not picked up because I had it. I think I got it from you at a Mocha years ago. But your first, the Lost Dogs book, yeah. I looked at that again, and if you think, if people think Essex County has a lot of blacks and thick lines, and it looks like it was drawn with charcoal and stuff, the Lost Dogs looks like it was drawn with like. When a building burns and it's just the remains of the wood, it's like you took a piece of that wood and just used it to draw.
Yeah, that was a pretty rough book.
Oh, but I love it though. I think because it's so raw and energetic. It's so. The story is.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say the story is quite violent and dark, but it was good. Good stuff.
Yeah, I've been thinking of maybe reprinting that. It's been out of print for. It's a couple of years at least now, so we'll see. Who knows? Sometimes it's better to let the old stuff just go. I might reprint it.
So now you've played around as writer-artist in long form, writer-artist in monthly form. Now you're going to be a writer. I have to imagine on some level you're thankful that it's all different schedules and things like that, but is there one that you your muscles sort of work better towards? Yeah,
I mean, at the end of the day, I'll probably end up always going back to just sort of the writer-artist, long-form graphic novel kind of thing. That seems the most natural to me and sort of fits my storytelling style or whatever the best. But it was definitely fun and is fun to play around with the monthly thing with Sweet Tooth and kind of take my personal sort of stuff and try to apply it to those monthly kind of conventions and stuff and play with them. And, the way the comics industry is, who knows how much longer monthly comics are even going to be around, to be honest, So it's really fun to get a chance to do one. And I also really like getting feedback every month, you know what I mean, on something you're doing rather than when you do a graphic novel, maybe you'll take anywhere from 1 to 3 years to do the thing, and then you're kind of just living with it by yourself that whole time, and then it comes out, and then it you get feedback, and it's great. But the fun thing about Sweet Tooth is almost like doing a really long graphic novel and just sort of chopping it up, and I'm getting constant feedback and stuff. So it's been a great project for sure, but I don't know that I'd do it again. I definitely do the writer's thing every month. That's a different animal, but as far as my own sort of creator-owned writing, drawing stuff, I don't know that I'd do another monthly thing. I think it would just be sticking to graphic novels once Sweet Tooth's done.
Jeff, don't give those people that are saying comics are dying. Don't give them any more food. Come on,
they don't need
it. Don't say that.
Yeah, well, it is what it is. It's the way the industry's going. It's just going towards longer form books and some other form of delivery. It's just the way it is.
I think artists should. You want to know how you start the comic industry back up again? Start drawing comics on models. Have it free. There you go, and then you'll get everybody interested in comics.
Yeah,
again.
No kidding. Yeah.
It'd be like a whole Roy Lichtenstein thing. Instead of putting it up on the wall, just get some bunch of naked men and women and stick some artists on them, and all of a sudden everybody's going to want to read comics. You put elongated man right on. Forget it. I'm not going to say.
There you go.
You had to go there, Peter.
I know. I'm sorry. Yeah. Okay. So Jeff, you're a big Doom Patrol fan. Are you reading the Doom Patrol book that's there now?
Do you want my honest answer or my faked answer? No, I'm not reading it.
Oh, okay.
I gotta admit, it's just, yeah, I really love Doom Patrol, but I kind of like the old Doom Patrol, like the 60s kind of stuff. It had this really weird kind of, sort of creepy, kind of lonely quality to it that I really liked, and I thought Grant Morrison's run really captured that, but made it modern. And I don't really go for the Doom Patrol as sort of like a modern superhero kind of more mainstream take on it. It just doesn't seem to work for me. But I have to say I haven't read it, so that's just sort of my my take on what I've seen. But I like Keith Giffen a lot. I'm a big fan of his, but no, I haven't got into it. Maybe a part of it is just because I want to do that book so bad. I don't want to read anyone else's version right now.
That's where I was going. I was going with that. I wanted you to say it because I figured
this is a dream project for me. Is Doom Patrol? It just seems Superboy in a lot of ways. Like I said, it really meets a lot of the themes and stuff that I work with. But Doom Patrol sort of even more so. You know, it just I love the outsider point of view, and to me, they're the outsiders of the superhero community, and that's how they should be written. So I'd love a chance to write and draw the Doom Patrol one day, but that would be one I would really want to write and draw for sure.
And so you're reading Doom Patrol? I know you get it.
I've read the first one or two, but unfortunately it's still my to-read pile. But
yeah, it looks good. I like the art's nice and everything. Honestly, I just but for whatever reason, I just don't read it because, like I said, I think that's one of those books that I just want to do so bad that I don't bother reading anything else until I get a chance to do it.
I have them on my to-read pile. I was getting them as long as they had the Metal Men backups as well.
Yeah, those are cool.
Yeah, I'm such a huge Keith Giffen fan that I normally pick up a lot of the stuff he does because I just like the voice that he has for his comics. He's really sarcastic on one level and kind of almost destructive in another, but he's really funny and clever.
Yeah, I agree. Are you guys or were you ever Legion the superhero fans when he was working on the book?
Huge Legion, huge. I loved his 5 years later stuff.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at. You guys like that? Did we talk about this last time? I don't know if we did. I feel like we may have gotten into this, but that 5 years later Giffen run on Legion is, I love that book more than I should. It's one of my favorites. You know, I just adore that comic.
I still have those to read. I picked them up at a sale at Ides out in Pittsburgh on Peter's recommendation.
Yeah, you can find those back issues of that run for 50 cents at a convention for sure. Yeah. But if anyone listening is even remotely curious, you should grab like the first 25, 30, 40 issues of that Keith Giffen 5 year later Legion run. It's just incredible.
Yep, 1 through 38. 38 is where the story lies.
There you go. That's it. Yeah, and that's a great issue.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what I love about it? It really was because that was like 90 or something like that. It was really early 90s.
Like 91. Maybe. Yeah, 91. It might even have started like 89. I'm not sure, but those are great.
It had the storytelling and some of the sophistication and the nuances that comics sort of went to eventually, almost like a decade later.
Yeah. Well, you can really tell when you read those that Giffen was super influenced by Watchmen, obviously, because he all of a sudden switched to that 9-panel grid for the whole run of that book was like the 9-panel grid, like Watchmen, and like you said, he really grasped a lot of those sort of things Alan Moore was sort of doing with sort of. He did it really well, though. A lot of the guys kind of latched onto the Alan Moore stuff and did like the sort of dark and gritty comics in the 90s, but they just didn't really get it beyond the surface level, whereas Giffen really seemed to get where he was coming from, and he took that and applied it to the Legion, and it was just this really bizarre but incredible run of comics. I really love it. What?
Here's a question to throw around to the table. where do you think where are comics now? Is it more artist-driven, writer-driven, a mix of both?
Yeah, I mean, there's not even a debate. It's a writer-driven industry for sure.
Is it?
I mean,
Okay.
How can you debate it? It's just look at any trade paperback that comes out. The writer's name is 5 times as the size of whoever the artists are on the spine. It's just that's what sells. It's Bendis, Miller, Jeff Johns, Grant Morrison. Those are the names. The artists, unfortunately, tend to be pretty interchangeable between projects. So that's just where I think that era, you had the sort of the Alan Moore late '80s era, and then the '90s were pretty much a washout creatively, except for a few really great projects, and then the Vertigo era kind of started, and then Marvel and DC sort of adopted all those writers. Like they all went over to Marvel, and that's sort of the writer era beginning. And people like Bendis and stuff coming, and that's where it's at. The writer is king now in the industry for sure.
And that might be true from the industry's point of view, but I don't. From a fan's point of view,
really,
I don't know. I'm asking.
What sells books though? Look whose books sell every month. The top whatever books are all. It's all based on who's writing the books, and you can't deny that.
I guess. I mean, I'm looking at myself and what I read. There are certain books that I read because of the writer, for sure. But there's other stuff that I pick out different each month that I go, oh, I love this artist, or I want to check out this trade paperback or this graphic novel because the art looks amazing. And I don't give a hoot who writes it.
I'm not saying it's right or wrong, or that's I'm not endorsing that. I just think if you're just talking about what era we're in and what the majority of people are following, and I think it is the writer. But yeah, there's always. I mean, to me, the art and the writing in comics shouldn't and can't really be separated. They're all part of the same, storytelling voice. So,
right.
I don't know. It's for guys like me and you, we obviously appreciate artists and stuff. But I feel like the industry itself is just currently definitely being driven by artists or writers.
Yeah, I mean, that's sort of kind of where I felt, and I actually was talking to somebody about, I think to go with the mainstream Marvel's. What Marvel does really well right now is put their top players, to use. Jeff likes sports, so they don't bench their top players. They put their top players right out there, right when they need them. And whereas I think sometimes DC, their writers, I think they put out, but sometimes I question how they put their artists on certain books, and some of their major artists aren't always necessarily on their major books, and it's a weird sort of game that goes on that I can't quite figure out, why they do certain things when it comes to the art. Yeah.
I mean, you might have a point there. I don't know that there's much of a difference between Marvel and DC in that respect, but a lot of the time it comes down to a lot of the top name artists just can't handle a monthly schedule, I think, So,
Sure.
And you get a few guys that can. You get like Doug Mankey up DC, so they put him. He's on a top book for sure with Green Lantern, and then at Marvel they always have Romita Jr. who can do 5 or 6 books a week. So he's always going to be on a monthly book, but a lot of the guys they kind of jump in and out on projects as they're needed because they can't do that monthly grind that. If you want to use the sports analogy, you have like your superstars, who are going to score all your goals, but then you have your fourth line guys those are the guys that can handle a monthly book a lot of the time, and you got to turn to them for a lot of the stuff. And it's definitely a skill in its own. So.
Oh, sure. And then you have people like us who are out on the stand drinking beer, eating a hot dog, and think that we're coaches. So.
Wow, let's keep it going, sports, all the time. Turn it to a sports podcast.
We could play some vuvuzelas.
Only talk about sports comics as well.
Oh.
We can certainly talk about World Cup. I mean, there's plenty of sports to talk about there.
Jeff doesn't watch that.
No,
You're not
hockey.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, did you watch the the Blackhawks Flyers game?
Yeah, of course I did. Yeah, I don't really like either team, so it wasn't one of those playoff runs where I was really invested in someone. But yeah, I'm glad the Blackhawks won. I like them, and they have a lot of young talent, so I'm happy for them.
And they have a superhero name or a comic book name. So.
They kind of do, yeah. It seems like a book that Joe Kubert would have drawn in the 70s, Blackhawks.
What about those war comics DC's putting out? Does that ever interest you? Anything like that?
I saw those. They solicited. I wish I would have got asked to do one of those. I love all those characters. Those are, especially the Creature Commandos. If I can't do Doom Patrol, that'll be my backup.
Jeff, do you need an agent? Do you need me to be your agent to get this information to DC?
Sure, man. Yeah, we'll talk after the.
That's funny. God, I would love to see that. I would love to see you do a war comic or.
Yeah, oh man, the Kubert stuff is like the best stuff ever for me. So, I mean, the Nobody really was just me drawing the Unknown Soldier for 100 pages. So it was. Yeah, the Creature Commandos and the Unknown Soldier, all those guys, they're incredible cast of characters. But yeah, I think I saw the solicits for those one-shots or whatever, and they look pretty cool, so hopefully there'll be some good stuff there.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what their goal is other than to see what works and what doesn't work. But
sure. Sometimes you got to try
bringing back they've been bringing back their sword and sorcery. You know, they tried the warlord thing, and I think they have a lot of corners of the universe that they've been focusing so much on the Fourth World stuff that it's kind of nice to see some of the other stuff. I'm still waiting for that Kamandi book, but
God, Kamandi's the best ever, the best comic ever. Sweet Tooth was a direct result of me trying to come up with a good Kamandi pitch and realizing it would never work, and then just turning it into Sweet Tooth. I love Kamandi.
Wow, that's awesome. I don't think I've.
No, come on, the animal-human hybrids, the last boy on Earth. It was all directly.
Wow,
I didn't even put that together. Till you mentioned it.
Yeah, no, it was. I was working on the Nobody, and I was trying to think what I could pitch next to Vertigo, and I think I had this thought of trying to redo Kamandi, and then, as soon as I start getting the ideas for it, I realized it would never fly as Kamandi, and it sort of morphed into Sweet Tooth. There were other things that influenced it as well, but that was a big one.
Oh, that's great. That's great. I love knowing that kind of stuff. That's awesome. Now, would you write it? Because I don't know if you saw the Wednesday Comics, the Ryan Sook stuff, but that.
It was amazing. Yeah, I thought they were great. That was the best one for me. The Kamandi one I thought was brilliant. Yeah.
Yeah. Guys in the room, any other last questions or thoughts?
I don't know.
No.
Just that I'm behind on Sweet Tooth and have to catch up with issues and trades or something.
Did you read the Nobody, Shane?
No, that I never read.
You didn't pick that up, the hardcover? Oh.
No.
You want to borrow that?
Shame.
I might.
When you meet back Magdalena, I'll give you the Nobody.
Yeah. Or when I loan you the Superman thing.
Wait a minute. Did you guys just trade Magdalena and Nobody?
Well,
I mean, I'm not a top cow, but
I love it. That's Shane, awesome. Shane actually has one of my issues, and he'll give it back.
The Nobody was a direct result of me trying to do Magdalena. I was just sitting around one day trying to think what I'd pitch next to Vertigo, and I thought of Magdalena, and then
there you go.
you
welcome.
can see where.
The parallels are unbelievable.
It is. Yeah.
It's not for lack of desire. I love that.
And I thought, what if you cross Magdalena with the Unknown Soldier, and then the Nobody?
Hey, it goes back to Ryan Sook, right? Isn't he doing those covers?
Oh, I believe you are correct, Peter. Look at you.
Yeah. Seriously?
I believe he is. Yes.
Yeah, he is. They're really good. Like,
they
actually, we know Philip Atopka. I mean, the stuff I've seen in Magdalena, I actually do want to read it. I dig on all the.
You get my copy from Shane, Peter.
I don't even know what Magdalena is. I'm just saying the name. What is it?
It's
is it like one of those half-naked, like, cyber chicks or something?
No, she actually is. She's like the
half demon.
No, she's
like
the church's
superhero. Protector.
Hitman.
Hitman.
Yeah.
Whatever. Okay.
It's like the
But
country
but
nurse.
Yeah, there you go. But she's on the run, and she has ties all the way back to Christ, which
Oh yeah.
I love all that. I love all
Don't
that.
we all though? Come on.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Except for pants. I don't think pants goes back to Buddha, I think.
Goes back to what?
Buddha.
He's got that belly.
That belly of his.
Yeah.
All right. Let's moving on.
Well, I think it's great that I for one when I saw that announcement that you were jumping into mainstream DC. I mean, obviously because I knew sort of from the past conversations, I was like, awesome, that is so cool for Jeff. I can't wait to see what comes out of that and where it goes from there. And I think it's a perfect fit. We'll be reading it, and
I'm glad you guys are supporting it. It's definitely been a lot of fun.
Yeah, because it just makes sense. I mean, like a lot of times we do a lot of superhero coverage, but we make sure we try to cover the indie. And now this is our chance to kind of do it the opposite way, and sort of see what you would bring to that. Like you said, what you will bring to that material. So I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's been interesting. It's for me the stuff that I normally would do, like Sweet Tooth or Essex County or whatever, and then you look at superhero comics, and there's like kind of the big difference between the stuff is that in general, like my stuff or indie stuff is sort of character driven, and whereas superhero stuff tends to be pretty plot driven. And so for me, it's trying to work within that plot-driven kind of world and have these great high-concept superhero stuff that people expect, but still bring some character work to it and bring, I don't know, it's just a little bit of my personality and stuff. And it's been a lot of fun to, I'm not saying I'm there yet. I'm only a couple scripts into this stuff, but it's fun to try to find that voice within it and see what you can do. So
awesome, great. Jeff, are you a trivia guy?
A little bit.
Brian, do we have Stump the Rios set up? We do our Stump the Rios segment in there. Do you mind sitting in for this?
What's this? You guys do trivia something? Sorry.
Yeah, I do. Every episode I do a trivia. People try to stump me for prizes. So.
Oh, okay.
So.
All right, 1 second here, Peter.
All right, let's do it.
Hold on. Well, I can cue the music a while.
Wow. It's like a dance party going on there. Pretty good.
That's what we do while it's playing.
It's like comics dance party. I like it.
We are sexy bitches.
That, by the way, when I write Sweet Tooth, that exactly is what I picture the soundtrack. That is exactly what's going through my mind as Gus walks down a long, winding road.
Is this Peter? Is this a contest or is this just regular old
Nope.
Stump the Rios?
Just regular comic break.
All right. So this Stump the Rios is brought to you by Comic Break at comicbreak.com. Save money on comics, both new and old, and some comic stuff. You need T-shirts, you need whatever, some toys, all that stuff. Go to comicbreak.com. All right, this one was sent in by Nathan P. Maney. He says, coming back at you, third time lucky. All right, question number 1, Marvel. What is Cable's complete real name? All 6 parts of it.
6?
6 parts?
Yeah.
Wow.
Whoa. Well, it's Nathan Christopher Summers. But is he asking for his
Junior.
I wonder if he's asking
Mr.
for
Nathan P. Christopher Charles Summer Jr.
Oh, I forgot about Charles. You're right, Charles.
I was just kidding. I've never read Cable.
No, you're actually you are right. It's Nathan Charles Christopher Summer, one of the ways.
What's Magneto's name? I bet that's in there. Is it it?
No.
Okay. Sorry.
Charles is obviously Professor X,
Logan.
and Christopher is Cyclops'
Phoenix.
dad's name. Are they asking for like a Scani son? Did he want
Yeah,
that too?
that's in there too. There's one more.
Then that would be the Dayspring.
That is correct.
Wow.
So it's Nathan Christopher Charles Dayspring Ascani son Summers.
Jesus mighty.
Wow.
See these kind of questions I get, Jeff?
Yeah, no, that's great.
All right. Question 2, DC.
All right, bring it on.
Name any one of the strips featured in New Fun #1, the first DC comic ever.
Oh, that's a great question. That's a great question.
He just wants you to name one.
Wow, I have no idea.
Sugar and Spike.
Jeff said Sugar and Spike.
Just
No, it's not on the list.
Dr.
Pants,
Cole.
you knew?
Pants.
I don't
do you
think
know?
any. I don't
I'm
think any of
looking
those
it up. I don't
characters were in
know.
there.
So am I.
Static Shock.
Wow.
Magdalena.
Yeah. There it looks. Well, you said New Fun #1.
Yeah, I have the list right here.
Okay. Looks like Don Nogel's Cattle Rustler. Looks to.
Oh, that's a good one.
That's not on his list here.
Well, I'm looking at the comic book DB for New Fun Comics #1. It says
Jeff, you might get ideas.
sometimes known as Don
Yeah,
Nogel's
hold on.
Castle Russell.
Okay, go.
All right, the answers are 2023 Super Police, After
Classic.
School, Barry O'Neill, Buckskin Jim, Caveman.
Whoa, hold on a second.
It was back in the 30s.
Uh-huh.
There was no code back then.
Yeah.
Wow.
How about Caveman Capers? Don.
Is that like? Wait. Is that like Keystone Cops, Caveman Caper?
I guess so.
That's kind of fun. I would rate that.
Don Drake, Ivanhoe, Jack Andrews, Jack Woods, Loco Luke, Magic Crystal of History,
Wow.
Oswald the Rabbit, Pelion and Osa, Sandra of the Secret Service.
How many fucking strips are in this thing?
A lot.
Holy Christ.
And the last one, Wing Brady.
Oh, cool. I want Grant Morrison's Magic Crystal of History right now.
We shall learn from the magic
Don't you?
crystal.
That's a really good question.
That'd be one trippy crystal.
Yeah.
And people are complaining about backup features in comics today.
Yeah, no kidding.
All right, and question 3, independent. What was the name of the druid in the Asterix comics?
I've never read Asterix. Brian, you probably read. Have you read Asterix?
No, not yet.
Yeah?
No.
No.
It was Charles Christopher Summers.
Ascani.
It's you have a guess, Peter?
No, God, no.
All right. It's
Blackfire Thorn.
it's Get a Fix.
Okay.
Yeah, there you
Well,
go.
there you go. Cool. Well, Jeff, thank you for playing along with us.
That was fun. Yeah.
Well, we'll let you go, and so you can go back to fatherhood or
Or go to
being
bed.
a creator or
Yeah,
whatever.
bedtime.
It's past his bedtime.
It is.
No, he
Oh,
said
it is.
9:30.
Well, it's almost past his bedtime.
Almost.
It is. All right, guys. Thanks a lot.
All right. It was a
well,
pleasure having you.
See you up in Toronto.
Yeah, I'll see you guys at Fan Expo.
Yep.
All right.
Cool. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Have a good night. Bye.
Bye.
Excellent. That was fun.
He's fun.
Yeah,
he's a really fun guy. Please, if you're in Fan Expo, go up and see him.
I'm looking forward to see what he does with DC stuff.
Yeah, the Atom backup. Well, the Atom Brightest Day comes out, I think, July 7th, and then it's going to be a backup in co-feature in Adventure Comics. Drink the Kool-Aid, and of course he's got Superboy coming up.
There you go.
Yeah, we'll have to when that first Superboy comes out, we'll have to give it a read through and see what it's like.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Did they announce a time frame for that to come out?
No, and I don't even. I was trying to look for the artist. I'm sure it's somewhere on his site, and of course we didn't ask him, because we're bad. But
We're bad interviewers.
Like he said, hey, he's the one who said it was a writer's industry, right? What do I need to know the artist for? I'm going to read it anyway. It's Jeff Lemire. Come on.
Okay, let's see. And this is his words: the insanely talented and affable Italian artist. Oh boy, Brian. Pier. How would you pronounce that?
Peter.
Really?
Pier.
That's what it says. Gallo is the last name. I didn't want to screw up a pronunciation in front of Mr.
If
Pronunciation.
it's Pier and it's Italian, it would be Pierre.
Okay. Gallo is who the artist is going to be.
Oh, okay.
Very good.
Quick, call him back. Let's.
He's going to bed. Leave him alone.
He's probably in his footy pajamas as we speak.
Or rabbit slippers.
No, it's footy pajamas. He got a hood, and he puts it up, and it's got antlers on him.
All right. I'm wrapping it up.
Let's go. All right.
All right. This episode of Comic Geek Speak was brought to you by Fan Expo. Go to Fan Expo. Oh, wait a minute. What is it? FanExpoCanada.com for all the information. August 27th, 28th, and 29th. We'll be there, and we hope to see you too. So come on out. Last year, it was a great time. If you'd like to send us an email, you can reach us at comicgeekspeak@gmail.com. Visit our website at comicgeekspeak.com. Follow us on Twitter. We're Comic Geek Speak. Leave us a voicemail. The number is 215-279-8839. Join the conversation at thecomicforums.com. And we want to thank everyone who has donated to the show. We really appreciate it. And as always, we are uniting the world's mightiest heroes, one listener at a time.